Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you're having a great day. So today we finally got the last relic for the relics for leagues. So I'm going to go over each one briefly. I'm going to talk about, what I think they're good at, what I think they're not good at. Hopefully you get something out of this, and then at the end I'm going to be presenting my track that I'm going to be doing. And then in a couple days, I'm going to be making a tier list after I look at some more of the discourse around these. So we're just going to jump right in here with the first tier 1 relic, which is Endless Harvest. This one solves fishing, woodcutting, and mining, and by extension, cooking, fletching, fire making, and smithing, since, you're getting the materials. It has a toggleable effect, which banks all resources automatically. You can turn that off, and it'll go in your inventory. You get double resources and XP from gathering spots, so the double resources you get also gives you XP, which is pretty cool. The nodes never deplete, you can AFK forever, and it's great. It's a great AFK relic if you couldn't tell already. So if you're, the type of person who doesn't really have a whole lot of time to devote to this game mode, this might be a good pick for you because it really lets you just sit there forever, and you can go until you get nerd logged after 6 hours, so it's kind of cool for that. I will probably be taking this on my alt. I'm not going to be doing this on my main, so I'm going to move on to the next one here, which is Barbarian Gathering. This solves fishing, woodcutting, mining, early agility, and strength, and also cooking, fletching, fire making, and smithing by extension. You get a knapsack, which holds 140 gathered items. You do not need tools anymore. Your hands now become the tools, and they have the crystal weapon efficiency. You get 10% extra XP in strength and agility, so this does solve a little bit of the early combat, a little bit of the early agility, which is really nice, especially because the first agility course we can use is Varlamore's Colossal Worm at 50, or the level 1 course in Yama's Lair, which allegedly will get us to level 50. At some point, it has a 50% chance on a failure to succeed instead, which is great. It just turns it into a coin flip if you do end up failing. And, if you're not taking this, you got soft hands, brother. You know what I'm saying? So this will be the one that I'm taking. I think this is objectively the best option for a tier 1. If you have the time to play, which I will this week, I will be taking this. I'll have plenty of time to utilize this to its fullest potential. And yeah, I just think this is a really good tier 1. Every year there's always one, I think, that just is blatantly better than the rest, like Trickster. Couple years ago, like that, there's always just one. So this is that one for me. The third one is Abundance, which solves coins. Coins are not as useful this time around. You're not going to get as much benefits from coins as you did last year. Coins last year, if you remember, had Golden God, which let you use coins on prayer altars, and then you could also use coins to like get your onyxes faster for furies and regens. You could use coins for a lot of things, but coins aren't as useful this time around. So this relic is not really that effective for me. I'm not a huge fan of this one. If you're taking this one, let me know what your plan is with this, because I don't really care for this one. But anyway, it has a toggleable effect. Your coins can go into your inventory or your bank. It'll do either one. Non-combat skills get a permanent plus 10 boost, which is really the only great thing about this, is that you get that extra 10 boost. You get 2 additional XP every time you gain XP, and then that is also affected by your multiplier. So at the start, every time you gain XP in a skill, you'll get 10 extra XP. And then you get 2 times the coins where X is the XP gained. So if you're getting, 50 XP from an agility shortcut, or like 100 XP from hunting, you're going to get 100 coins, or 200 for whatever you're doing. So just multiply the XP you're getting by 2, and then that's how many coins you get. It's pretty cool. Like I said, it's not really that useful to me. Coins aren't going to be super useful this league, so I'm not really hard pressed about taking this one. So moving on to tier 2, the first one we have is Hot Foot. This solves agility, cooking, smithing, and coins. You get the Searing Boots, which gain XP or agility XP while running based on your level. So this is similar to the boots from last year in Gridmaster. You just run around and you would get agility XP. Picking up termites and Marks of Grace gets 10k and course completion XP, so you get double course completion XP and 10,000 coins whenever you pick up either of these two. Termites, if I remember correctly, are pretty common on the Colossal course, so if you're interested in this one, this will be a pretty good one to solve, those production skills. Unfortunately, it doesn't synergize super well with Barbarian hands, but, that's beside the point. Courses on their own grant 2x completion XP. You have 100% success on agility and cooking actions, which is pretty nice. basically just a cooking cape, you know, as tier 1 or 2. And then you get 2 times termites, 10 times the crystal shards from agility courses, because, you know, I mean, this will really help you with terrain if you're taking this. You know, it'll be really good for charging those armors, and if you're going for the Bofa or the blade, you know, it'll get you corrupted faster. But yeah, like I said, I don't think I'm going to take this one. I was really about this one at first, and then I decided to take the next one, which is Friendly Forager. I'm just going to put the star there because I am taking this one. This solves Herb Lore, which is a pretty big solve. You get potions from this as well, obviously. So you get the Forager's Pouch, which generates random herbs when gathering, up to plus 25 of your herb level. All herbs are processed at once, so you know, if you're cleaning an inventory of herbs, they all get processed instantly. And when you're making potions, you have a 90% chance to save secondary ingredients. So that's really big, especially because there's not a perk this time around that makes potions infinite, because there was last time. And that was a really nice perk to have. And then potions that you make are 4 dose instead of 3. So as you can see by the star, I am taking this one. I think this is the best option of the 3. It synergizes insanely well with Barbarian Hands. You know, any gathering that you end up doing, you're going to get an herb, which is really nice. And since you won't be able to stay at the spot infinitely like you would have with Endless Harvest, you're going to have to go back to a bank anyways. So you can empty this pouch, empty your knapsack, go back to work. It's a pretty nice synergy, I think. The third one is Woodsman. This solves Hunter, Firemaking, and Fletching, and has a toggleable effect where chopped logs are burned. You can turn that off to make them not burn. All Fletching is processed at once. You have a 100% chance on success for Hunter traps, so you're not going to ever lose an animal. Animals come a lot faster to the traps, and they give double loot, so we're talking double Chinchampas, we're talking double antlers from Sunlight Antelopes and Moonlight Antelopes. You know, kind of cool there. Rumors give double XP and double loot. If you've been following along with my videos or my streams at all, I did go over my thoughts on this. I'm not really super keen to the double loot thing for the Hunter sacks. There's not a lot in those sacks that make me want to take this over the Forager, or it previously was Hotfoot. It's just not enough for me to want to take it this early, so I'm not going to. But you also get double jarred impling loot, and the Quetzal Whistle doesn't lose charges. Again, kind of a cool perk, not really that useful since you're gonna be getting charges anyway because you have to train Hunter at some point. So again, kind of cool. Not super useful relative to Friendly Forager, but this might be a good one to reload into if you really are feeling Hunter. And then we're moving on to tier 3 here. We start with Bank Heist. If you remember from last year, Leagues had this, and it was nice. You know, you could teleport like to any bank, any deposit, or bank chest. It was really cool. Super convenient for like getting to and from the bank. But I'm not taking it this year. I think there's other better options, like the next one, which is Evil Eye. This one lets you teleport to the entrance of any boss. Now, this is kind of relic dependent, or yeah, area dependent. I mean, you are going to have a lot of bosses in certain areas and not that many in others. Like Asgarnia, which I'm taking for instance, has a lot. You know, teleport to Nex is really nice. Teleport to God Wars is really nice. There's just a lot of good options for some places and not for others. Barrows can go to the entrance or the chest. So if you were like wanting to just rush one brother and just, you know, kill Darok, go to the chest, like that would be a really good way to do that. And then it can also go to each moon individually, so for the same reason, you could rush Blood Moon and just get the full set from him as quickly as possible before, you know, jumping back in. So it's pretty cool. I am taking this one. I like the idea of this. I think for my endgame stuff, it's going to be a lot of fun to use this to teleport to the bosses that I need and then to just get the stuff done. So I will be taking this one. The third one is Map of Alacrity. You get the Map of Alacrity, obviously. You can teleport to any agility shortcut. You will be on the less favorable side, and you still need the requirement to use the agility shortcut. It's pretty cool. You know, some areas have a ton. I know Asgarnia has a ton, but they're not that useful because, like, you know, Ice Mountain is, or like the White Wolf Mountains on there. So, like, there's a ton of course, or like, shortcuts there that are just not useful at all, but like there are some areas that do have really useful ones. So, you know, if you're interested in this one, there are some uses for it. I don't think it's good enough for me to take. I think Evil Eye is clearly the winner in this tier, but that's just me. You know, I think the desert, which I'm taking also, only has like 5 or 6 shortcuts, so this really is not that useful for me. So I didn't even really give this one a second thought after I read it, especially after seeing Evil Eye. But if you're taking this one, let me know. Let me know what your strat is going to be for this, because I don't see it, honestly. So tier 4, we have Transmutation. This solves farming, prayer, cooking, crafting, runecraft, fletching, and fire making. This is kind of a catch-all. This does a lot of stuff. It has a toggleable effect, which changes your alchemy spells from what they are normally to convergence and divergence, which upgrades or downgrades materials based on which one you cast. It does this in groups of 10 and auto casts on noted items. So this is a solve for a lot of skills, especially farming and prayer. I think this is going to be really big because you can increase or decrease your seed level based on what you need. So like if you need a dragon fruit seed and you only have a banana seed, you can cast this all the way up to dragon fruit and it will give you that seed. Same goes for bones. If you need superiors and you only have regular bones or dragon bones or whatever, you can upgrade to that. As seen in this rune chart here, this will be really good for magic too. I mean, you don't need Kandarin anymore for wrath runes. You can just get wrath runes by casting the spell. So it's just a scale that goes up and down. It's really helpful for, a lot of things. So I will be taking this one. I was on the fence on all the tier 4s, honestly. There were a few that I was really interested in. The second being Conniving Clues, which solves your collection log. I have heard from various sources that there will not be as many points in clues as there has been in previous leagues, so this is automatically not as useful as the other tier 4s in my opinion. But you get a 33% chance to gain clue contracts from a reward casket. Clue contracts allow you to teleport to your current step, which was a perk on the older ones too, but now you just have to get a chance to get one instead of just having it available all the time. You have a 25% chance to receive another clue when you open a casket, and a 7% chance of clue drops from creatures and implings, and a 10x increased chance from clues from skilling. You would get the lowest possible steps for clues, which is a really nice perk. I really liked that about the old Conniving Clues, or whatever it was called before, Clue Connoisseur, I think, where it was the lowest amount of steps possible. You could teleport like right to the thing you needed to do, and it was really nice. And then emote and fallow clues don't require items, another huge perk. This might be worth reloading into if you find yourself missing a good amount of points, but again, it's not enough in just tier 4 for me to want to take it over the other options. The third option is the Butler's Bell, which solves smithing, cooking, fletching, fire making, construction, and herbal, basically all the production spells or skills. You get the Butler's Bell, which makes a demon butler gather resources for you, and this works even when you're offline. So he'll gather logs, ores, herbs. I think there's a fifth one, I forget. But either way, he can process this stuff into their secondary products as well. So he can make logs into planks. He can make herbs into unfinished potions. He can make ores into bars. So this is really good for if you're going for an AFK build, just like the first tier. If you aren't going to be able to devote as much time into this as some others, you might want to take this just so you have a solve for your production skills outside of Endless Harvest. Or if you want to just take this to solve all your production skills, this is a good option too. I think this is just a really good option for any AFK build. It's another good reload option as well if you're taking reload. But again, compared to Transmutation, this is not enough for me. Transmutation just solves way too much, and it just seems like a really fun relic to take, so I won't be taking this one. Tier 5, we have Nature's Accord. This solves farming, herb lore, and some transportation. You gain the Fairy Mushroom, which has been on its own in the past, its own teleport thing, which lets you teleport to any tool, leprechaun, fairy ring, or spirit tree. Farming patches and plants don't have a level requirement anymore, so you can grow like high level plants without needing the level, which is great. And they give 10x yield from crops, and you get the XP for that yield, which is really cool. Plants never die, and then you have a 20% chance to not use a seed whenever you're planting. This seems really good to me. I really like this one. I am picking this one for my thing. I was on the fence about another one in tier 5 that we're going to obviously get into, but for now, this is my number one pick. Obviously, this is all theoretically up in the air because this is kind of mid to late that I'm going to be taking tier 5, so it could change at a moment's notice, but as of now, this is what I'm thinking. So the other one in tier 5 is Larcenist, which solves thieving. You get a 100% success rate in all thieving actions, automatically pickpocket and steal from NPCs and stalls. You get 10x the loot, and loot is noted. stalls never deplete, and guards never catch you. So you can just pickpocket broad daylight, you know, no problem whatsoever. They are not going to do anything about it. And you get 10x coin pouches. Again, this is another one that really doesn't do a lot for me. It only solves thieving and maybe coins. The stalls never depleting is cool, but if you're in an area where other people are going to be thieving from, they can break this for you. So it's kind of like, you know, you have to kind of be in a private area, which on like day or like the first week of leagues, you're never going to have that. So, you know, it's not that great in my opinion. It might be a good one to reload into, but you know, it just isn't doing much for me. It only solves one skill compared to, you know, Nature's Harvest, and this next one, Soul Harvest, is much more useful. This solves prayer and rune crafting, notoriously two of the more annoying skills to do at leagues, especially rune crafting. Toggleable effects is that you can make drop bones and ashes turn into soul shards instead of being a bone or an ash. So if you wanted the bones instead, you could take them. It replaces crops, bones, and ashes with stackable soul shards, which can be used in place of pure essence or at the libation bowl at Tiamat for 550 XP. This is a pretty cool effect. I do really like this. I think I'm going to be taking desert, so rune crafting is low-key solved for me, so I'm not super worried about this, but this is a great one if you're not taking desert or an area that has good access to rune crafting. And the bones do scale with level, so you'll get more shards based on the level of bones or ashes that you're getting, so it's not like a static amount. It's different every time. So this is pretty cool. This is another good one to reload into if you liked anything else in tier 5 a little bit more, but you know, cool nonetheless. Definitely better than Larcenist in my opinion, but you know, like I said, I'm doing Nature's Harvest for tier 5, so this one didn't really do enough for me to not want to take Nature's Harvest. So then we jump into tier 6 here. This solves prayers and spellbooks. We've seen Grimoire before. It's in like almost every league. You can use it as a Book of the Dead. It unlocks all prayers and spellbooks regardless of regions. So, you know, if you're not taking Kourend, if you're not taking wherever the giants are, I think they're in Asgarnia. If you're not taking those areas, you get access to the prayers that they provide. If you need Arceus spellbook and you want thralls and you're not taking Kourend, you know, you can use it for that as well. Same thing goes for ancients. I'm taking a lot of those areas, so this is definitely not in my playbook. I might consider taking this if I end up not taking Kourend, but at this moment I am taking Kourend, so I'm going to be able to get those prayers. And I'm taking Asgarnia too, so even if I didn't take Kourend, I still have the lower version of them, which is still better than nothing. So I don't know, the Grimoire is not really my thing, but I know that a lot of people are going to be using this because a lot of people are doing melee, they're going Mortania, they're going Fremenic, they're going, you know, Kandarin. They're not going to get these perks anymore. So this is definitely a good option for those people that are taking areas that don't have access to those. I personally have access to them, so I'm not taking it, but it is still a great relic nonetheless. Tier 6, second option, Eternal Sustenance, solves food, and food is no longer consumed when eaten. I don't know why they did this one, if I'm being so honest with you. I don't understand why this is, even in tier 6, this does not seem like that good of a relic for this stage of the game. By tier 6, I have already solved Herblore pretty much, so I will have had Ceradomin Brews. I'll probably have loads of food. You know, I mean, I got Barbarian going. You know, I'm not going to be struggling for any of this. You know, food no longer being consumed is not that big of a deal for me. I'm going to have plenty of healing in my demonic packs. You know, if you watch the stream, you know, I'm going to have plenty of healing. I will not be, you know, short on any of that. And I know a lot of people else are too, because the water is huge on healing. You know, you have like Onyx Tip Bolts, you know, you have healing specs. You know, again, food is not really going to be a big problem, I don't think, this league. So again, not really sure why they thought this would be a good tier 6, given the other options. Because the next one, Culling Spree, is solving Slayer. You get to choose between 3 tasks and to select the kill count up to 200. 50% chance of superiors spawning another superior when you kill them. Superiors always drop 1 to 3 elite clues. The Slayer Helmet Eye is always used when not, and you don't need to wear one, it's just always available. Reward shop perks are free, and then you can purchase the Rune Pouch, Herb Sack, and Looting Bag from the Slayer shop. I mean, given the other tier 6s, I mean, what are we doing? You know, we have Grimoire, which gives you access to the best prayers and spells in the game. We have Culling Spree, which basically is just a Slayer solve that makes your life so much easier for Slayer, which is an annoying skill sometimes. Or we can get unlimited food. You know, I don't really I don't really understand why they did this again. If you are taking this and you're watching this video, please let me know why, and you don't have to justify your reasoning to me, because obviously I know, like, this is, you know, a personal preference. You know, I'm not going to get on you for it, but let me know what your strat is for this relic, because I don't know what you could possibly use this for that would make your life easier enough to not take the other two, if you know what I'm saying. So yeah, please let me know if you have any thoughts about this. Like I said, it just seems completely useless to me. I don't know why they put this in. So, you know, I know I'm kind of harping on this, but in conclusion, I'm taking Culling Spree. I will have access to the prayers, as I said, so I don't really need Grimoire. I'm not going mage, so I don't need the spells, so I don't need Grimoire. So I'm taking Culling Spree. I took Grimoire last year because I did need the prayers. This time I don't, and I'm going to do this instead because I think it looks kind of cool. I'm not going to be doing a lot of clue scrolls, but that's besides the point. I think this one is the better of the three for me. Tier 7, we have two options. We have Flow State, which solves skilling in general. It makes everything you do in skilling a 2-tick instead of whatever the normal tick speed would be, which is kind of cool. It is actually good competition for the other option. It also works with minigame interactions, which includes Wintertide and Temporos, which are both... Temporos, I know, is not as bad. Wintertide sucks. You know, Wintertide, the fletching speed is so terrible. The woodcutting speed is fine. It's pretty cool. You know, I think I'm taking the other one, but I was on the fence about this. I still am, if I'm being honest, but I don't really think at this stage of the game I'm really going to care about Wintertide and Temporos. I will have probably been 99 fire making long before I get to this tier. I will probably be doing late game to mid to late game stuff at this point, so I'm not super concerned about this option. The second option is Reloaded, which is returning again as it does, which solves your indecision, my indecision, because I am taking this. It allows you to take a relic from a lower tier. That's really all it does. I'm not going to go over all the other relics just to go over this one. I am taking this one, and I'm probably going to take Woodsman. Woodsman, at this point, if I'm not 99 Hunter, I can just take Woodsman and do it. There's a couple other options I was playing with, but Woodsman just seems like the best option for me. I just, you know, I don't think Hunter is going to be a really fun skill for me to train unless I'm getting insane XP for it, which I will from the Hunter loot sacks. Another option was Butler. You know, it's just kind of up in the air. This is late in the game, like I said, so this could change at any moment, but I'm just going off of, now that I have everything, we have all the information for leagues now, I can make these, you know, builds and stuff, so this is where I'm going right now with Woodsman. Could change, we don't know. And then we finally got the final tier 8 today, I think, April 12th. This solves combat interactions, obviously. We gain the Executioner's Axe, which if you used it in the previous leagues, it instantly kills a target under 20 HP, or 20% HP. Pretty cool. It doesn't work with Yama. I really like this one in the other league. I don't think I'm taking it this time around because the other ones just seemed better to me, but it is a cool option, especially if you're speccing into throw for, you know, this just works for your build in general. Like, this is just a good option. But I think the DPS that I'm going to be putting out for this league is going to be, you know, crazy compared to what this thing's going to do. I mean, like, I know it's going to do, you know, up to, you know, 1,000 damage on a kill, but I mean, I'm going to be doing like up to 400 damage with my build anyway, so I'm not really concerned about not killing things. I'm really more concerned about staying alive and like target weaknesses, so this isn't really in my playbook, but it is a cool option nonetheless. It's always good to see stuff making a return. Which brings me to Minion, which is making a return as well. This also solves combat interactions to a bit of a bigger extent because you get the weaknesses bonus if there is one. It gives you the Minion Whistle, which summons a minion that will fight for you for 30 minutes. That's supposed to say fight. The Whistle can consume Zamrak items, which increases his max hit by 2 up to 5 times. So his max hit can go up to 20 on a 3-tick, which is pretty nice. It will automatically loot items, including ammo, and it will not fight Yama. I am low-key thinking this one. I am very on the fence about the tier A ones because, like I said, the late game ones really depend on where I'm at in the late game. The tier A one is obviously the last one I'm going to get. So, like, if I find myself needing this at this point in the game, I might take it. The other two options are also great. This is just for my initial, like, hey, this is what I'm thinking right before leagues thing. You know, when we're doing the videos and you're seeing the progress later on, this might and probably will change. All the tier 8s are pretty good, so, you know, I'm on the fence about all of them. But right now, this is just what I'm picking because it seems the most interesting and useful to me at this moment. The third option, which is what I was going to pick before I ultimately decided on Minion, was Flask of Fervor. This is similar to the other flasks that we've had in the past, where it basically just heals you, restores your prayer and spec immediately, kind of like Ambrosia from TOA. And then for 2.4 seconds, you get full immunity to damage, and it triggers 3 explosions, which deals 60% of your prayer level to enemies in a 3-tile radius. So we're talking up to 60 damage 3 times. So it's 180 damage that you're going to be doing. It doesn't work on Yama, I don't think, and it has a 3-minute cooldown, but it's reduced by 0.6 seconds per 10 damage dealt on a hit splat. So with my build, my crossbow Thorns build, this would restore very quickly because I would be doing 200 plus damage on a hit. So that's 20 procs at 0.6 seconds. That's, I mean, I'm not doing the math right now. I think it's like 12 seconds that it would save every time I hit. And that doesn't even include Thorns damage, which I also am doing. So that's why I was going to take this first. But then I was thinking about how I'm not really doing anything for mage or melee because of this. So that's why I was thinking the minion might be a better choice because I would have access to the weaknesses that I don't do. So that's just kind of where my head's at with that. Like I said, this could change. I might take this or Executioner's Axe in the end. I'll see how the build plays out. But either way, we're going to go over my build now in total. So we're doing the Barbarian Hands, the Friendly Forager, Evil Eye, Transmutation, Nature's Accord, Culling Spree, Reloading into Woodsman, and then Minion. So that's where I'm at right now, guys. Let me know what you're thinking for your relics. You know, whatever you're going to be doing, whatever your builds are, you know, let me know in the comments. I've had a lot of fun over the last few days talking to you guys about what you are thinking for this league. You know, leagues is my favorite time to play RuneScape. So, you know, I really like hearing what everybody's theories and thoughts are. So please leave a comment below, like and subscribe if you're enjoying the content. And thank you so much for watching. I will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.